Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers pushing this work in truth and sincerity. Today, I just wanted to kind of go into a lesson based off what the brother Yamarka had put together about this new doctrine that's going out about basically Jake being indigenous to the American continent. And pretty much one of the places where I stumbled upon one of the guys putting out this doctrine was this guy who goes by the name of 1000 Go Ahead. And as you can see here, he has a title up that says Undeniable Part 3, African Americans Ain't African. Now, pretty much if to all the Akim out there, we pretty much teach that we're the real Israelites according to the Bible and that we're not of African descent. So when I first came across this video, I was led to believe that, this brother was helping to push the truth. But I came to find out that his whole premise was that basically Jake here in America is indigenous to the continent of America, which is not according to the scriptures. So pretty much, as far as the title itself, it's along the premise that, we basically specify that we're Israelites, but really, this guy is still pretty much going off. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this first precept. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah. The children of Israel representing the 10 tribes, from Ephraim, to Issachar, and then the children of Judah, which is the southern kingdom, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which would be the so-called Negro tribes, were oppressed together. And all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. Right, because basically the other tribes were already over here, which were the 10 tribes, which would be, known as the Native Americans, the Seminole Indians, the Tainos, and Arawaks, and so forth. While during the transatlantic slave trade, you had the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that were brought over here from the western parts of Africa as well as in Europe. So just pointing out that fact, because pretty much that just goes to prove that further along that basically Judah and Israel, being oppressed together in this land, you'll come to find out that they intermingled with each other. And just to point some of that out, I just came across this article. It's called Black Indians in the United States. So I'll just read, part of it just so you can get just a little rough introduction of this article here. Black Indians are people of mixed African American and Native American heritage who have strong ties to Native American culture. Many indigenous peoples of the eastern woodlands, such as the Narragansett, Pequot, Lumbee, and Cherokee, have a significant number of African ancestors. Historically, certain Native American tribes have had close relations with African Americans, especially in regions where slavery was prevalent, or where free people of color have historically resided. Members of the 5 civilized tribes participated in enslaving Africans, and some Africans migrated with them to the west on the Trail of Tears in 1830 and later. Scrolling down. And peace treaties with the U.S. after the American Civil War, the slave-owning tribes, which I sided with the Confederacy, were required to emancipate slaves and give them full citizenship rights in their nations. The Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole have created controversy in recent decades as they tighten rules for membership in their nations and excluded freedmen who did not have at least one Native American ancestor in the early 20th century. Dawes rose, and the Chickasaw Nation never saw extended citizenship to Chickasaw freedmen. Okay, just scrolling down because it's a few other points I wanted to mainly bring out. All right, it says African slaves brought to the United States and their descendants have had a history of cultural exchange and intermarriage with Native Americans. You know, so just kind of pointing that aspect out that that just proves that doctrine about Jake being indigenous over in this land, because pretty much it just points out that you know Judah, Benjamin, and Levi had intermingled with the tribes that was already over here. So that's just one point to cut that doctrine. This is the book of Second Esdras in the Apocrypha. And yeah, I'm gonna start at verse 39. All right. It says, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So pretty much the 10 tribes who sojourned in the land of Samaria, you can read about that in 1 Kings, was pretty much taken into the Assyrian captivity. And they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country whenever mankind dwelt. So I mean, according to the other side of the world, which mainly the Middle East, Asia, Europe, that's where the multitude of the heathen mainly resided back in biblical times. And it said they took this counsel among themselves to go to a further country wherever mankind dwelt. So let's see what happened. That they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years, and the same region was called Asareth. And basically, roughly translation, it translates as into Akar Arataza, which means another land. And that another land was America. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, which we're in the latter time right now. And now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. So basically, Most High helped the other tribes get over here through the Euphrates, and they sailed under the current of Africa till they got to this continent. That's pretty much how the scriptures testify how the other tribes came over here. Alright, so, and to add to that point, basically Christopher Columbus even knew to have Hebrew scholars, because he knew he would find Israelites over here. Columbus left 39 men, including Louis de Torres, the converso interpreter, who spoke Hebrew and Aramaic, and founded the settlement of Navidid at the site of present-day Bord de Mer Le Monde. Haiti, Columbus took more natives prisoner and continued his exploration. So the main point was that they spoke Hebrew and Aramaic. So why would Columbus, need Hebrew and Arabic interpreters. You know, if the natives over here were just savages, because he basically knew through prophecy. You know, if you can read the rest of this article on Christopher Columbus on Wikipedia if you want to find that out. You know, that he was going to find Israelites over here. Just to prove that point even further. Here, Louis de Torres, you know, I'm figuring this was probably one of those fake Khazarian Jews that he had with him as a Hebrew interpreter. This probably was not really an actual Levite, as it says here. But just getting to the point, it says Columbus hoped that the interpreter skills would be useful in Asia because they would enable him to communicate with local Jewish traders, and he may also have believed that he would find descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. So that pretty much proves the point that yes, the Native Americans are Israelites. Thus, you know, the doctrine that basically, you know, we bring out that this guy wants to deny, because the main point that he refutes is Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. You know, when you go into the video as far as being part of the transatlantic slave trade happening, they denied that aspect as you know, basically the brother Yamarka had brought out in his lesson from conspiracy dudes Fury, whatever the guy's page was. You know, you can find more about that. But just finishing off, this is Isaiah chapter 11 verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and shall gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Alright, so basically, you know, that's coming into the time of prophecy where basically Yahweh Shai, our Lord, is basically going to assemble the remnant of Israel throughout the four corners of the earth. You know, so the four corners represent north, south, east, and west. And whereas the tribes scattered mainly over in the western hemisphere, in North, Central, and South America. So with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. And for you sincere brothers out there, you know, don't be, you know, taken into this new wind of doctrine. And with that, I say shalom.